Hello, welcome to another episode of Perfectly Imperfect with me, Marcy. Thank you so much for coming back to this space to support my content and to listen to my content and constant rants about how life is kicking my ass. Anyway, guys, we are back. As you can see, I'm on your screen. You can finally see the face behind the voice. Anyways, yeah, I'm excited. Thank you so much for your support. We are here because of you guys, because of your support, for believing in me, and for pushing me to do great and to be better. Yeah, so we're finally on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe, comment. I don't know what everything that people do on YouTube, tafadhali. And yeah, like also remember, we still have our merchandise on sale. So we have t-shirts and we have journals. We try to customize the merchandise a bit to your liking because we want you to have a piece of perfectly imperfect, but a bit customized so that it can be a bit closer to your heart. So we can try to accommodate your little changes here and there. But yeah, that's all about it. So thank you so much, guys, for the love you shown. The last episode I did, it was about doing it afraid. And if this is not me doing it afraid, guys, I don't know what it is because anyway, so yeah, we are on YouTube and I've been wanting to do this thing for a very long time. But if there's one thing that has been holding me back is fear. I don't even know what I was very afraid of, but I'd also say like fear, and I wasn't really like in a very good place financially. So yeah, it's been in the works for quite a long time, and I'm really happy that we can finally do it. So yeah, I hope that's all. So if you're new here, just in case you're new here, this is Perfectly Imperfect Podcast. I'm the host. My name is Gatweri Morioki, and this podcast talks about adulting, basically, because adulting is really a lot. So I just talk about, I don't know why I keep saying we, and it's me, guys. We is me. I'm the social media manager. I'm the host. No, I'm not the producer now, but yeah, you get the point. So I talk about relationships, mental health, adulting, and love and loss. And I'm not talking about relationships to do with boyfriend and girlfriends because I really don't have so much experience on that topic. Hey, anyway, yeah. So we basically talk about other relationships like parent relationships, sibling relationships, and yeah, friendships. Yeah, so I really hope it's going to be a good ride for you on this space. If you're a returning listener, welcome back. And thank you for also tagging along on the journey on YouTube. So yeah, we are on Spotify, Perfectly Imperfect Podcast, and all on all other podcast streaming platforms. Guy Mwadhani. All other podcast streaming platforms. We are also on Instagram, Perfectly Imperfect with Marcy on Instagram. No underscores, no nothing, just Perfectly Imperfect with Marcy. And my personal page is Gatweri Morioki. So let's get right into this episode, guys. So from the title, I bet you already know what we're going to talk about. Father's Day was just yesterday. Now I'm shooting this when Father's Day was just yesterday. And I had an episode with On a Friday podcast where we talked about, where we basically unpacked our childhood traumas. Now, childhood traumas could come from our environment where we grew up in, maybe our siblings, and mostly our parents as well. So we have a couple of, I do have a couple of childhood traumas that I'm still trying to heal along the journey as an adult, which I'm actually coming to realize as an adult, which is, I don't know, adulting just reveals things you didn't even know about yourself. So I've been thinking about, the other day I went home, right? Mimi si mtoto wa Nairobi, disclaimer tafadhali, kwetu ni Meru. So I travel home for an event. And basically as an adult I've been trying to observe my parents without them being fully parents, right? So I've been trying to see how my parents are reacting and behaving without having to parent us all the time, because I have two sisters. My elder sister is working as well, she is also an adult, and my baby sister is on the last year of her high school. So now, my parents are not really like actively parenting us. It's not like they constantly have to be there. And I've really been observing how my parents are behaving in this like stage of their life, I'd say. And I really love to see it. Like my mom is just like a little girl when like you're not there. She's just doing her own things. So I just came to realize like after all, our parents were still human and they didn't even have a manual themselves on how to parent. Maybe it was their first time becoming parents. So as much as we try to blame them for a couple of things they did, African parents, if you come from an African home, all the things parents used to do, you're being forced to do all these things. I do, and like I know some of us us have even gotten to the point where you're being forced to do a certain course, or you're being forced to even do a certain job that you don't want. Now, there's something now that comes from that is called the mother wound. I know you guys have seen it everywhere. This is Gen Z. All podcasts are talking about it. So, basically, my experience, and I'm really grateful for my parents. Thank you so much, mom. Thank you so much, dad. You guys have done a great job. I don't even know how I would have turned out if, I wasn't raised by you. So your presence is greatly felt in my life. I don't take it for granted. But at the same time, there's something that comes with we are human and we all make mistakes, and along the way we might collide with each other while trying to learn and unlearn. And now, so basically what I'm talking about today is the mother wound, but there's also other wounds that come from, your Father's Day was just yesterday, and there was a lot of emotions on the internet because most people really don't have a functional relationships with their dads. Maybe your dad is not in your life. He went to get the milk, came back, found you lactose intolerant. Woo, my lord. Anyway, so yeah, with all the stories going on, maybe you even have a dad, but they're not even present in your life. You might have a dad who doesn't know anything about you. They just know that you're their child, right? This thing where dads ask you, na sister yako ako form? Na wewe unafanya course gani? Uli graduate lini? So all this, all these dynamics to do with parents and relationships with family. So Father's Day brought up a lot of emotions. For me, I felt very grateful for my dad, but growing up, and I think I said this on the episode we did with Unspoken Logic podcast, um my dad my the nature of my dad's job did not allow us to spend like the most quality time together. So I rarely saw my dad, or rather I'd say I used to see him once in a while, maybe on the holidays, maybe when he's on leave, sometimes when he come to visit in school. But it was not like I'd say the usual setup where dad comes home from work and mom is cooking and now all of you are bonding over homework. Mostly it was just my mom, and my mom is a proper corporate buddy to this date. Sai nikipigia mamangu simu ataniambia, in a meeting, I'll call you later. The only time you can find my mom is after 5 p.m. She's a proper corporate buddy. So she was just the same way when I was young. She used to go to work very early in the morning, very early, to the point that if you don't wake up to find your own socks, my mom is Amanda. Shauri yako, wear whatever you'll wear, school bus inawakujia, go to school. She doesn't have the time to. I remember I used to get away with a lot of things, especially sneaking out of school because my mom was rarely in the house. So yeah. So the thing is with the mother wound, basically, it's about acknowledging and honoring the foundation your mother provided in your life so that you can fully focus now to creating a unique life for yourself and your future family, which will be your daughter, your son, or whatever. And yeah, so it's basically authentically realizing that our parents were also human and they did these things because they had to do these things, not because they had a choice, right? And sometimes, okay, what does the mother wound look like? For me, I'd say, no, I'm not really like a professional in psychology. Usinisikize hapo ukisema huyu ni therapist, tafadhali. Because, anyway, yeah. So, the mother wound for me looks like some of the things that my mom inflicted in me that now as an adult I look back and I'm like, oh wow, I don't think you really had to do that. You should have done this differently. And sometimes it might also look like things they did. Maybe you come from a family where your mom even left, because we also have moms who went to get the milk, or inaweza kuwa bread sasa. I don't know in this case. So yeah. So if you come from such a family, my mom and I have a very good relationship, by the way. I'm like typically a mama's girl. I've even hosted her on this podcast. But there are also some of the things my mom really did, and I'm like, that was very unnecessary. Like, why? You didn't have to do this. Like forcing me to wear dresses on Sunday. Please, mom. I'm still in jeans, as you can see. I am really not a fan of dresses. I'm really not a fan of dresses. My mom forced me to wear dresses to church. Like, I don't see why you can't wear a dress. You have a good body. But I rarely told her that people in church used to tell me I look bigger than my elder sister. I didn't tell her that. But all the dresses, nilikuwa tu nazieka dresses zangu zote mpya zilikuwa tu kwa closet. And my mom is like, mbona hauvangi dress? Every time akiniona na dress nimetoka tu kwa bedroom, ananifanyia. not again. Unatoka aje na jeans? Like, why? Unaona? Yeah, so those are some of the things. Another thing I'd say, African parents are basically disciplinarians. Ni disciplinarians by force. Utadiscipliniwa either utake usitake. But some of the things, okay, I'd say some of the methods they used to instill discipline, honestly, hazikukuwa necessary. Because I remember one time, my sister had just come from the salon. So her hair was like freshly made. And for some reason, we used to have this salonist mwenye akishika kichwa yako hutalala for a week. Your neck is stiff, umevutwa, your eyes are zimeenda hivi, uko na Chinese eyes. So my sister came home and I don't even know how. For some reason, guys, I'm a middle child. So for some reason, stubbornness just comes naturally to me. So my sister came. This time my dad was on leave. So my sister came and I was like, okay, so mbona yeye ameshukwa na mimi sijashukwa. And then my mom was like, umeshukwa last week. Like, your hair is also still fresh. Nikasema, no, mimi sitaki. So I went, I think I either beat my sister on the head. Sijui nilimuuma ama nilifanya nini. Something. Yeah, I was just a weird kid. So I remember my dad was like super mad. So sistangu mkubwa, right now she's not naive. She can beat me to death. But your time she was very naive. So she was just crying. I said, Mami, no more. Then my dad is like, okay, so why would you do that? And me, I seriously fear my dad to this date. Hi, so my dad is like, okay, so mbona umefanya hivyo? Nikasema, kwa nini mnamlipia ashukwe? Mbona tukushukwa same time? My dad is like, you know what? Toka nje. Leo utalala nje. So I was like, huh? This man is kidding. He doesn't know who I am. I'm Pam. I'm the owner of this house. So, yeah, my dad was like, you know what? Just get out. And then I just looked at my mom like, come on, save me. Come on, I'm your girl. My mom was like, hey, toka tu. So nikafukuzwa na hiyo siku walikuwa wamepika my favorite food, which is njahe and rice. So I'm like, you guys are not serious? You're kicking me out of the house. You guys are kicking me out of the house. And you guys will have njahe for dinner. So my dad was just like, yeah, get out. Anyway, I went out. I remember I just sat at the veranda there. And then I stayed there for like about 10 or 15 minutes. And then I remember I was just shivering. So I just knocked the door again. Niko like, basi simnipatie sweater. If you're going to leave me here, I mean. So anyway, I just eventually nilingia home. But I remember that day and I was just like, well, I did hiyo kitu ni wrong, but was that punishment really necessary, right? So, but the cost of not healing your mother wound is like living your life indefinitely with thinking that there's something wrong with you. Like I said, I was the stubborn child. I have really put my parents through a lot. From drowning in a river, nikitoka shule, from, I don't know, being forwarded by the deputy of my school then because nimeiba sukari, from, I don't know, climbing trees and then my dress is ripped. I've really put my mom through a lot. And when I say through a lot, it's really through a lot. And every time my mom used to reprimand me, the thought that was going on in my head was like, is there something wrong with me? I mean, why can't I just be a normal kid like my sister? My sister was like very composed, always in the house. Hata kama ha watch TV, she's just in the house, chilling, doing something. Mimi, 6:30 in the I'm out. Nishaenda kwa jirani kumwambia, kesho tunapack suitcase tunaenda Nairobi. Kama wazazi wenu wafanye kazi Nairobi, can never be me. Anyway, so yeah. So it can consistently make you feel like there's always something that is wrong with you. You can never actualize your full potential because you're always living with the fear of being reprimanded or being like, you need to be parented all the time. And right now you're an adult, you're allowed to make your own choices, right? So you can always feel like, oh no, I need my mom to do this for me. I need my mom to put, these things in me, to instill this thing. Then you never feel really worthy and capable of creating what you truly desire. And this is really my own experience with my mother wound. So sometimes it looked for me like I need my mom's validation all the time. And growing up, I used to be this kid who's like, always the kid who's like very outgoing. I come home with so many gifts and presents from school. If there's something, I'm just there. Kama ni drama, mi niko hapo. Kama ni nini, I'm there. Kama ni nini, I am there. So I always felt this need of still living up to that as an adult, which is very hard. Ebu imagine every day of your life, una make sure please your parents. Wewe umetoka job, umechoka, but you still, like it's more like people pleasing, which is very, very exhausting. So for me, it looked like I need to keep like living up to these standards of being this kid who's always making their parents proud. And every time I do, a single mistake, I feel like, oh no, like why did I do this? And can you guys imagine it? Even like recently, my sister made like a very big decision, like with her life and religion. And you know how African parents are with religion. I don't even know whether I have permission to talk about this, so I'm not gonna go into details. And she basically told my mom, mi nimefanya hivyo. And I was like, mbona unamwambia, like mdanganye tu. She's like, I'm not lying. Mi nitamwambia hivyo. For me, friends, my mom will know about that 3 years later. Nitakuwa namwambia, nafanyanga bado. I still do that. She's like, ile course nilikutumia ufanye online uliapply. Hata tunaendanga class. Oh, she's like, oh, very good, very good, very good. So sometimes I find myself doing things and I'm just like, I'm doing this because the little girl in me wants to see the smile on her mother's face. And every time my mom used to come home from work, she was like very exhausted. Singe imagine nikiendelea kumkatia siku nikimwambia vitu mbaya mbaya. That's why I never told my mom hizo vituko nilikuwa nafanya shule. Alikuwa anazisikia huko kwa jirani. Anaambiwa, unajua ninaambiwa mtoto wako alianguka kwa river the other day. Ama like unaona, she used to hear it from other people. Ati unajua jana mtoto wake alianguka, aliumia vibaya, you need to check like kama mguu iko sawa. Yeye alikuwa job, so anaambiwa. So nilikuwa naona tu I can't bother my mom with these things, unaona? Like siwezi shinda nikimwambia, leo ni kama nilianguka or nilichapwa. Yeah, so right now, as I take a look at my mom, she's like so free. She doesn't have to actively parent me. Umeenda job, like umekula, ulikula job, all these things. You can do these things for yourself. And in turn, I have seen my mom, like this is like the best version of herself, I can say, since like I was a kid. My mom is so free. She can do things herself. I find her buying like cute, cute things, cute dresses. Then I'm like, oh, wow, ulinunua hii lini? She's like, hata mimi ni girl, she's buying even skincare products nowadays. Ni kama she's going back to, anajitayarisha sasa, she's preparing. I don't know, but she's like so free and I like that for her because growing up, she was like just alone, like my dad was there, like of course, input yake ilikuwa kwa simu, but utaisikia. Akinipea tu hivi simu aniambia, unajua nasikia umeiba sukari. Sikiza na unisikize vizuri, my friend. When my dad says that, najua tu ni kufinish kumalo. Anaambia, utafanya nichukue leave wewe, nikuje nikae na wewe. So, yeah. So, for me, it's been more like realizing my mom was also human at the end of the day. She didn't have the know-how on how to do this. Can you imagine I'm 23? I bet when my mom was like 20, I think she got married at 25, if I'm not wrong. So at this time, she was already trying to figure out her life. Sahi alikuwa shaanza kujiambia, now I need to settle down, get a husband. Right now, I don't even have a boyfriend. Am I even looking to get one? The answer is no. Because there's no hurry. But imagine mamangu your time, the pressure she had na parents wake, like you need, ushamaliza sasa college. What next? Even when I go home, my grandmother, first question, rafiki utatuletea nini? Best believe it's akuulizi best friend huo mwenye mnaitana babe kwa social media. No. Anataka rafiki wa ukweli, Hey, and I had my grandpa telling my cousin the other day, kuja nyumbani next time kama umekunja ngumi. Na si kukunja ngumi you fight. Ni kukunja ngumi umeshika pesa ama bibi. Guys, the pressure. So imagine our parents at that stage in their life. Si tumekunja ngumi ya kugodha. Unagodha tu hapo. Anyway, guys. So at that time, imagine your mom just got you, maybe I'd say, when she was like very young. She's not been taught how to parent. Maybe she's coming from a family of like 10 siblings. Mama yake anashika sufuria inaenda inagonga watu wanne wenye wote wamefanya hiyo makosa. They're not even in touch with their parents. I don't know you guys. I don't know whether you guys have ever had your parents telling their parents, I'm having a mental breakdown. Ama wewe unanipatia anxiety. You need to chill down. You need to calm down. Sijawahi sikia. Like, I've never had my mom even complaining to her mom that, she's broke or she's had a bad day at work. Iya kikuja tu home. Yani umewacha hadi hapa na uja subscribe. Acha nikupe dakika 5. Thank you. Turudi. My grandmother is basically waiting to tell her all these other things. So chakula ngombe, watu wanaenda kwa shamba kesho. She doesn't care whether this woman has had a bad day at work or not. Sometimes I see my mom coming home, she's very exhausted, and I'm also in corporate. So I do understand how corporate can be sometimes. So imagine she did all these things and I turned out like this. Alifanya hivi bila experience. Alikuwa ana learn along the way. And I feel like my parents have been very lenient on my baby sister. Sijui kama ni juu ye ni last born ama ni juu Gen Z imewaonyesha dust. So they're like, tukiwakazia sana labda wataharibika zaidi. I don't know. Because my mom is very lenient with my baby sister. My baby sister legit tells my mom, kuosha vyombo inanipatia mental anxiety kwa hii nyumba. Look for someone to do that. And my mom is like, say no more. Kesho kutakuwa na mtu wa kuosha hiyo nyumba. What about you guys when you got off school at 4 p.m.? Unatoka shule, maybe ufike uoshe vyombo, then you start doing your homework. So parents are also learning and unlearning along the journey. Because the other day, we were having a very candid conversation with my mom when I was still job searching last year. And she told me, aliniuliza tu, how is job searching going for you? Nikamwambia, it's tough and everything. And then she was like, oh, okay, akaniambia tu, I don't know what would happen, but I feel like if you're depressed, you can as well talk to me. Kama unasikia things are getting so hard, you can tell me. And I was cringing. The cringe I cringed. I was like, ooh, wewe. Hizi nini unaniambia? That you can open up. To the point that even my dad is calling me, uko sawa? Ebu kama uko na shida, just know unaweza tuambia. I'm like, guys, come on. Chukueni viboko mnitandike niende nikatafute kazi. Because that's what we are used to. So I've seen my mom unlearn, and one thing I admire about my mom is that she can unlearn things. She's really open to unlearning things. She's very open to learning. My mom is always with a book. Anasoma tu kitabu, she wants to read things, she wants to know things. Na your energy, she still unlearns a lot of things. So you can really tell her, me, I don't like how you did this, me, I don't like how you talk to me. And she's like, sawa, next time I'm going to, improve this. And for me, healing my mother wound has been stopping to put the blame on my mom, right? Yes, sawa, she caused the pain. Yes, she did this. Yes, she did this. But now I'm an adult. I'm 23 years old. Mi nitakuwa na watoto wawili bado nasema, unajua we mamangu vile, we, ingekuwa ni nyanya yako sasa ingekuwa amekupiga like, I mean, I can't blame her like for the rest of my life. So I just keep like more like forgiving her. And it's been more like now, nitoe blame on her kabisa. She's a mom. She raised me how she knew best, right? She did her best. And who even knows, like, am I even going to be half the mom she is when I become a mom? Nobody knows. So for me, unlearning, like healing my mother wound basically has been now connecting with my mom at a human level. Just like letting go to think like, okay, this is my mom, this is the disciplinarian, and just now asking her questions I would ask as a human, right? Maswali zenye tu tunaweza ulizana huku nje. So sometimes I ask her things even for advice about work, and I'm not even asking her these things as a niambie kama mama yangu. No, I'm like, niambie as a manager or where you work at this level of management and knowledge and yuko nayo in corporate, advise me how to do this, which has really drew us closer. Because angekuwa yeye ni mama yangu, unaweza imagine vitu zenye angekuwa ananiambia. Kama unataka kuacha hiyo kazi uko na wazimu. Hiyo ni wazimu uko nayo. There's nothing major hapo. What do you mean? Right now she's just like, oh, okay, naelewa, this is the tough, do it this and this. So that has been one of the things. Letting go of the idea like, okay, now let me ask you this thing. Tuelewane, tuaranerie, like the women we are. So the other day, what drew us to having the conversation on cervical cancer is because I think someone, I don't even remember, but I think someone had lost someone to cervical cancer. So I was like, okay, so you're a reproductive health specialist. Ebu explain to me exactly how this thing goes. And now she was telling me, imagine, woman to woman. Like hakuwa ananiambia ati we jueni mtoto wangu. She was telling me these things as a medic would advise any woman out there. Ndo nikamwambia, if I need this information, I think other people would also need this information. The other thing has been constantly affirming her that she did a good job raising me, right? As I know parents sometimes also question themselves, as much as we also question ourselves to go like, am I doing this the right way? Am I doing these things the right way? I'm sure our parents also wako like, ama ningefanya different na mtoto, ama there's something I would have done different. So it's constantly telling her, I'm grateful for things you did for me. I'm grateful for, taking me to church. I'm grateful for introducing me to God. Because I remember my mom just asked me one day, I was now reporting to boarding school. And she told me one thing about my mom, she prays. And I think I talked about this on an episode. My mom prays about everything. So she told me before when they shule, we'll have to go see a pastor so that they pray for your new journey in school. So we went to this pastor. Akaniuliza, umeokoka? Like, are you born again? I said, yes. Akaniuliza, lini? Nikamwambia, mimi nilizaliwa nimeokoka da. I mean, we, kwani ujui mama yangu wewe? I mean, kwani ujui mama yangu? So I just basically said, mimi nilizaliwa kama nimeokoka. Then the pastor was like, you have to admit it for yourself now and say that you have accepted Christ. Then I just looked at my mom very clueless. I'm like, si tunaendanga kanisa mom, sinaendanga Sunday school, hata ninafanya presentation on Sunday. My mom was like, yeah, so salvation is more about that. So I'm very grateful that the first like experience I had with God and salvation and Christianity was through my mom. And like she used to be this kind of mom when you have to go to Sunday school, yes. But remember my setup, guys. I told you, misi mtoto wa Nairobi. Kwetu ni ushago. Msipoonekana kanisa Sunday. Hoi! Devil worshippers, my lord. Why? Kwa nini hamkukuja kanisa, you know? So she was just like, mi naenda job, but nyie endeni kanisa. So going to church. So everything to do with God, I know it. I owe it to my mom. Even to know how to read the Bible. Most of the time, akini prepare. The few times she used to prepare me to go to school, she used to tell me, unakumbuka ile memory verse nilikwambia? Unakumbuka ile song? And I remember she used to have a song book. Alikuwa ameandika akiwa high school. She used to teach me those songs one by one kwa hiyo song book. So ameziandika song number 1. So sometimes anakuja jioni, ama mostly when lights zikipotea ndo mostly used to have these things. She's like, Ebu, let your songbook, let's sing this song together. So I'm really grateful. Like, I tell her she has done a great job with raising me, especially introducing me to God, especially telling me about God, and also demystifying all these myths with Christianity. My mom is really like a staunch Christian, but I can tell you my mom is, I can say she's not like that deep in the shackles of religion because she knows how to differentiate. Like, this is what Christianity is and this is what religion is. And it took her a while to get to that point because, like I'm saying, my mangu kuna time hakuwa na imagine naenda kanisa na jeans. But right now she's like in a point that she's like, oh, okay, this is also like cool. You can also serve God hata ukiwa na hizi vitu, right? So affirming my parents, my mom, I don't know whether I would affirm my dad. He's a true African man. Nikianza kumwambia, by the way umefanya job safi kunilea wewe, cheki. Atakuwa tu like, this is okay, atasema tu, atakuwa tu like, okay, this is weird. So my mom is telling her like, you're doing a good job in raising me and I've seen her raise my baby sister. I'm like, you're also doing a good job in parenting her, but sangine I'm like, unalegeza kidogo. Other things that have really helped me is praying to God to like help me. It's praying to God to help me forgive my mom for things that I feel like she didn't do right. It's also praying to God to give my mom more life to at least witness the fruit of her work. Like, now she's raised this, whole girl. She's done all these things for this child. I wouldn't really wish it on anyone's parents that your mom has done all these things. Your mom has put in such great effort. And then now they don't see, they don't really see to it that is a fruit of their labor, it may pay off in the end. So I really pray for my mom and I really hope that all my parents, actually, both my parents, that they have a good life, that they see like, at least one day they can take a look and be like, yeah, we are proud of this girl. Other things really have been thinking how these things that they did affected me. They don't really see to it that is a fruit of their labor, it may pay off in the end. So I really pray for my mom and I really hope that all my parents, actually, both my parents, that they have a good life, that they see like, at least one day they can take a look and be like, yeah, we are proud of this girl. Other things really have been thinking how these things that they did affected me. Sawa, so as a child, nilifanywa hivi na hivi na hivi, but why? Why were these things done to me, right? I know it's very hard to come to the realization that we ati ulichapa ndo ukue a better person. Unakumbuka walimu wakituambia si we nimechapa ni makosa. Bro, si mimi umechapa ni noise making, which is so crazy. So it's also been like, how did these things affect me and how can I help myself move on from these things? Because if honestly, no one is coming to heal your traumas for yourself, even you, including your therapist, I'd say. Your therapist can help you get to the journey of acceptance and accepting that, yes, these things happen to me. But your therapist is not going to come and take those trauma and then heal them for yourself. No. The other thing would be giving my mom space when she says she needs it. Where sometimes ni kama ni heartbreak. My mom says ati we wacha mimi nikalale because I have an early morning. I'm like, ma'am, unaenda wapi? Kaa hapa. Kaa hapa to watch news za 7 na 9 pamoja. So it's like giving her time and understanding her as well. Akiniambia today I'm having a busy day, sitaweza kufanya some. I'm like, sawa, cool. Chonjo. Sometimes my dad is like, leo mimi nitachelewa, kesho job iko tight. Chonjo mzai. Sometimes my dad tells me job iko tight leo and I'm like, simpigi. I'm like, nahitaji kitu but sitapigia babangu mpaka job ishe. So that is what has been there. And again, bonding with my siblings over that. Now, I don't know whether this is a good thing or a bad thing because it looks like maybe we're going to share traumas or exchange traumas. I don't know. But even asking my sister, like her point of view, what do you think? Unaonaje mom would, if she will do these things better, which has really helped. Because I came to realize, sisi wote watatu tuko na very, very, very experiences with our parents. Like I said, my sister was an introvert kid. Very silent, ametulia. She'd rarely go to places ati anaongea. Mimi ndio ule wa kuambiwa semea wageni shairi. Guys. Mimi ndio nasemea wageni shairi. My sister on the other hand, very composed, very chilled. Like hata tukienda, I remember a story they were telling me when I was young. So my mom alikuwa ameenda na sisi fellowship. So we used to go to fellowship. Na I'm sure hata mkienda ushago. Sijui kama Nairobi's fellowships ziko. But ushago si tulikuwa tunaenda fellowship kwa kina nani. Hii Wednesday ni kwa kina nani. So mnakumbuka ushago hiyo kitambo walikuwa wanatengeneza mkate wanapaka whatever spread kama ni ati butter. Blue band. Nasema ati butter. Anyway, so blue band wanapaka kama ni blue band then sasa zinapitishwa. So my mom alikuwa mimi ameniweka kwa mgongo now we were ready to leave the fellowship. Then ameshika sistangu mkubwa sasa mkono. So huyo mama akamuuliza, kwani ambaki kungojea chai? Mama akasema, hata hawa wako sawa. Walikunywa chai na mkate kwa nyumba. Tray ikapitishwa kwa mgongo, huyu mtoto wako kwa mgongo akagrab mikate. Guys, my mom alinitoa kwa mgongo, akasema kaa pale, mpatieni. Mpatie chenye anataka. Like ilifika 2 point my mom hatuongelele. She can't say watoto wangu wameshiba. Akiulizwa wamekula, hebu waulize. Thanks to who? Me. Because hey guys, like by the way, my stories as a kid are so funny and I don't even understand why I used to do these things. So my mom just told me, Mimi, kama kuna mtoto amenifunza independence ni wewe. Jifanyie vitu, jisemee vitu. And then again, that's the problem. I was very outspoken and very extroverted. Ukiniambia ninyamaze kwa wenyewe, alafu niulize mbona leo uongee, nitasema wewe hebu ninyamaze, unajua Mungu alisema nisiongee kwa wenyewe. So my mom gave me like independence so much as opposed to my elder sister. Sister yangu mkubwa alikuwa akiambiwa fanya, hivyo ndo atafanya. And then, you guys just know firstborns. Very chilled, composed. Sister yangu akiambiwa leo tukienda huku kinao usifanye hivi na hivi sawa. Mimi on the other hand, nitaenda kwa wenyewe. Hii TV mlinunua lini? Kwani mlinunua TV lini? Na sisi tukinunua TV nikikuja kwenu, hata sisi jana tulibaiwa TV. It's crazy, guys. So, has been sharing with my sister to understand her experience with my mom and my dad and my experience, then asking ourselves. My sister is a bit more closer to my dad than she is to my mom because she's sasa yeye ni mtoto wa daddy. She got alipata ile time yenye dad, the family was so young, so dad was like almost constantly there, like job haikuwa mbali. So she's like really close, super close to my dad. So my sister can tell my dad things. Anaweza sister yangu mkubwa pigia bangu akilia. Mimi nikipigia bangu nikilia kwa like we brother unaliaje bana? We ndo boys bana. Changamka. So me and my dad like have that. Tuko na tu the formal relationship. Like niaje poa? Ko poa? Akiona simu yangu nikutumie ngapi? Unataka ngapi tulikuwa tunaongea hapa studio ati happy Father's Day umeshikiwa wapi? That's the kind of relationship I have with my dad, but I know that man would cross oceans for me. So, sharing with my siblings, but sasa sistangu mdogo tunamu-exclude. Tuko like, wewe, hauna say. You've had a very soft run. Shut up. Yeah, sistangu mdogo ameenda like, I think 6 primary schools. Ama ni 7. Yeah, because she basically feels like hapana, hii diet ya shule hainibambi. My dad is like, say no more. Unataka kuenda shule iko na diet gani? Huko ndio tunakupeleka. But me, I was taken to a very school very far away from home. Kwetu ni Meru, nimepelekwa shule ya Embu, nilikuwa nalia every day. My dad is like, kesho nakuja kukutransfer. Pack your things tonight. In the morning, asubuhi. My schoolmate is here. Nilitransfer class 5 to class 8. The embarrassment. So, yeah. Another thing has been trying to learn as much as possible as I can from my parents. Now, there are two things I learned from both my parents. My dad is very outgoing. Now, me, I take after my dad, the character of my dad. Very outgoing, very outspoken, socializing with people. My mom, on the other hand, ni introvert mbaya. Mimi, sijaiona chama kwetu. Mamangu chama zake ni kama yeye anazicoordinate kwa WhatsApp. Please, sijaona watu wamekuja chama kwetu. I've never seen, like literally my mom is her job and her family. Very introverted. My dad on the other hand, now when my dad is home, kila mtu atajua. My dad atenda kuja na mwenda wazimu from the market, amlete kwenu, apewe chakula kwenu. Patieni mtu chakula na chai. My mom ni ule mtu wa, she doesn't even know what's going on in the village. Babangu akikuja tu hivi siku moja, anampea mushane yote. Mamangu anamza for real, babangu anamza kati ya mimi na wewe nani anaishi huku. My mom doesn't know things. She's very introverted. So what I learned from my mom is the boundaries she's really set, even with her family. Like I'm a set boundary kabisa. Watu family yake wanajua this is where to cross and this is where not to cross. Including us, her kids. We know this is where to cross and this is where not to cross. There's a voice that goes on in my head thanks to my mom. Nani aliacha nywele kwa kichana? Ukiekelea kichana ikiwa na hizo remains za nywele, you will hear that voice. Utachukua hiyo nywele uende ukaitupe kwa dustbin. She's disgusted by that. Like, anaweza throw up. Some of those are some of the things, like, hata kuacha socks kwa my mom doesn't believe in leaving socks kwa sitting room. It's dirty. It's ni miguu zako. Why would you bring them here? My dad now, on the other hand, has like a very vast social capital. Unaweza ambia bangu sahi, dad nimepata job Eldoret. Hello? Mtoto wangu kesho hivyo. Akwambia ende uongee na huyu mtu. So, like my parents are very different but they complement each other. Mamangu amenifunza boundaries for real. Like she's really set her boundaries and I respect her for that. Even with her friends, wanajua where to cross and where not to cross. And one thing about my mom, she does not force things. My mom will not look at you in the face and tell you, yes, I like what you did, and she does not. She will not. Instead, she'll tell you and she'll cut you off. Na itaisha hivyo, na itaisha hivyo. And she'll point blank tell you, mi nimekusamea. Even God knows I have forgiven you, but we can't be friends again like that. And I'm like, oh wow. Then mimi niko out here naambia, okay babe, it's okay babe, haina shida. Anyway, my dad now is now the problem solver in the family. My dad ni ule mse mwenye, you think you have a very big problem, umwambie, alafu atainarrow down ikue like kitu kidogo, akuuliza, hii ndio ilikuwa inakusumbua? This is what you were crying about, you know? Like that. So, it's been learning, and if there's one thing I'm gonna borrow from my parents, from my mom and my dad, no, from my mom, I'm definitely going to borrow the role of being the person who's training your kids in the way they should grow and who's introducing your kids to God. Because I don't think by the way, kama mamangu hakuni introduced to God, sijui ningepatana wapi na God. So I'll really take that role because I admire that from my mom. The art of praying about every single thing for your family. I'll really take that role because I admire that from my mom. The art of praying about every single thing for your family. My mom, if I call her in the middle of the night, my head is aching ama niko mgonjwa ile for real, my mom will be like, let's pray about it. Kwa simu, let's pray, tutaomba. If I tell my mom I'm going for an interview, she'll be like, pray about, tuombe, let's pray about it. I'd really love to embody that for my kids. For my dad now, I'd really want my kid to have the full-on experience because my dad made sure we have this full-on experience where tunajua Nairobi na tunajua Ushago. Very rare combination. So tunakuja Nairobi, yes, na tunajua Nairobi, but we are also in touch na watu Ushago. My dad will be like, do you know this? This is your uncle. Let's go visit your uncle. And if there's a relative you have in Nairobi, my dad atakuwa like, ebo neni mkatembele auntie yenu, and I have unlimited number of aunties. We? Hey, huyo msee mwenye anakusa, huyo boss wenu hapo kwa job inaweza kuwa ni auntie yangu. You never know. I have so many aunties because side ya babangu wako 9, side ya mamangu wako 10, na mamangu wako na steps. So I have like more than 20 aunties and uncles. So my dad ametusaidia kupata the full on experience. Anytime angekuja leave, you'll know my dad is there. So he'll do the cleaning, he'll like see cleaning ati ya kuosha vyombo. he'll do the cleaning ati amekata fence, amechoma trash, amefanya this and this, ako like Saturday tunaenda ushago kutembelea this and this, so and so, so and so. And he's really taught me the art of showing up for your family members. My dad really shows up for his family members to the point that as an adult, if I hear like there's a burial at home, I have to contribute or I have to be there in one way or another because this is what my dad has taught me. I grew up watching my dad calling his siblings and talking to them for an hour. Wanamwambia shida, wanamwambia this is what is going on, and then my dad giving them solutions, which is something I really admire about my dad because my mom atakwambia tu wacha nikupatie namba ya baba Masi muongee. Now my dad is almost even closer to my mom's, like yeye ndo ana no, my dad is a parent to all parents. Anashipingi one child, one family at a time. So kama mtoto wako amekushinda, wacha nikupe namba ya babangu. He will shape that kid for you. So my dad is, even for my cousins, uko university, uko mwaka gani? Ivo, like that's what I want like my kids to know. And then my dad really strived to make sure tumejua Kimeru. Kwa anasema head, shoulders, knees and toes mtafunzwa shule. Mimi nitafunza Kiongo, Ivo, nini? Inaitwaje? Ituro, Maru, hizo vitu za Kimeru, if you're Marian, So that's, my dad was like, hizo vitu mtafunzwa shule, but me, I'll make sure you know. Like most of the things I know, I owe them to my dad. Considering I was like very outgoing, I'm telling you, me and my dad used to match outfits when I was young. Alikuwa anatoka Nairobi, ameniletea mom jeans, some tops, na safari boots. Yes, I used to rock safari boots as a kid. Ndo tufanane na my dad. Mi nilikuwa ule msee. So alikuwa ananiletea hadi kofia, like tuna match. So we used to match. Tukienda gatherings. Nakaa nika me, I'm the son. Wow. Anyway, someone has to do it. So basically, this journey is like a very tough journey because it's like trying to correct your parents, which ideally in an African setup haufai. Mo unafaa uchapwe na ukubali umechapwa. Now imagine telling your mom, hapana, hiyo ni wrong. Sahi I call my mom and I'm like, hapana, mbona ulifanya hivyo? Hiyo si poa. You shouldn't have done that, So it's a hard journey because it's learning and correcting them at the same time and accepting all these things they did. Now, I'm not really sure what other wounds you have in your family or in your life, but I'm just here to tell you that it's time to let go of the blame. It's time to stop blaming your mom for these things. It's time to stop blaming your dad who went to get the milk. And I'm really sorry if I might sound inconsiderate because I don't have the experience, but I feel like right now, if you got a husband, will you keep on blaming your dad still? But you have a husband. Now you have a dad for your kids. You have the option of choosing a better partner. You have the option of choosing someone else to help you raise your kids in a better way. All these wounds that are caused by family, I have so many other things that I have not talked about, but they're still there. They exist. I'm not like the most I'm put together. Mindio, apana, I have my life figured out. Why? If you believe that, you're wrong. Think again. If you think that, think again. So I don't know about you guys, but for me, this has been a very interesting journey. It's very difficult for me, but I'm really grateful for my parents. I'm really grateful for my dad and for my mom for all the sacrifice that they did to make sure I'm here where I am right now. And I know they've really sacrificed a lot. My mom literally had to let down her master's when I was in Form 2. Ndio nimalize shule na niingie university, then she can now pick up her masters. We graduated sasa tuligraduate mwaka same because they alichukulia sasa masters yake way later. I had to see her struggle to do her degree, bado akitulea. Amerent mahali karibu na kampo, so sometimes ako huko, sometimes ako home. It's just a lot. I know they've really sacrificed a lot, and I know, guys, it might not seem like it when you think about it, but our parents really did their best. Imagine you've never even seen your mom breaking down. Ati kuna siku amekuja tu ameshikilia kisu na nyanyako like mi nimechoka. Never. Lakini Gen Z parents, kwa wale parents you're stressing me out, man. You're giving me anxiety. Let me take a walk. Mamako unamstress. She has a bad day at work, but she'll still cook for you. She'll still help you do your homework. So our parents really did their best. It's good if we just take time and recognize that, as much as we have all other things going on. Now it's been, I don't know how many minutes of me ranting, and this is just my first episode. So I really hope you guys enjoyed. So that's all. I see you guys on the next episode. Remember to subscribe, like, comment. Nini ingine watu fanya YouTube? Share. Hey, sharing goes a long way. Please share. Na kumbuke kununua merch. I have a whole crew looking at me. Nani atawalipa? I also wonder. Ni merchandise. Thanks. Okay, guys. Bye.